All right, shalom, beloved, and hopefully everyone is doing wonderful today. You know, family, the other day when I went over the changing of times, dealing with the book of Daniel and showing how the adversary have, in many aspects tried to replace not only the Most High's days and the celebrations and stuff like that, hiding all this information. But like I said, trying to give clarity to those that may not have heard this or seen this before. Family, again, it just got me thinking again how deep this goes. And again, I'm just scratching the surface. But I want to add to that message. And again, hopefully give the Most High, His praise and His glory, and give Him, all the honor. But also I want to edify those that may not have heard this before. And again, I know there's brothers and sisters that have showed this and have taught this. And again, all glory and honor go to the Most High. But for me, like I said, even though I have heard and seen this before, a lot of times when you read it again, you see other things that you have overlooked. So before I get into this, again, let me start by giving all glory and honor to the creator of the universe, the head of all the Yahweh, and to his son, the heir of the throne, Yeshua HaMashiach. I'd also send out a greeting to the brothers and sisters that's out here trying to teach, the children of the diaspora, and to the Gentiles that are gathered with us in sincerity. To you guys, I say shalom. So with today's discussion, family, I'm going to go over some of the scriptures that I went over in the previous video, but this time I'm probably going to go again a little bit deeper. And for those that may not have heard this before, again, write it down, do your own due diligence, and when you come into these scriptures, especially, it's a good practice for you to not only read a few verses before, but if you can read the whole chapter, or start at the top, of that chapter, where you can get a better understanding, and read further on, But again, for time's sake, again, I'm going to only go to certain scriptures where I'm going to really what the message is pertaining to. I'm going to go to just certain scriptures, and then it may be cases where I may read a little bit more. But anyway, with that being said, let's get into this. So I started off in the previous video, saying Daniel chapter 7. So let's start there. Let's start off at Daniel chapter 7, and let's run this down. Let's run this down. Daniel chapter 7, but this time I'm gonna start off at just verse 25. Daniel chapter 7, verse 25. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given unto his hand until a time and a times and dividing of times. And again, for those that have studied, we know that that's when the Israelites went into captivity, the various captivities, right? And especially now in this Babylonian system, right? The system of confusion, right? This is, again, why they changed times, why they changed the Most High's, not only his Sabbath, but his feast days, which we're going to get into some of that, as well. And how by way of coming up with their own days, and they call them holidays. The Most High have holy days. They created holidays. So let's go to Genesis chapter 1, verse 14. Genesis chapter 1, verse 14, and let's read on down. And Elohim said, let there be lights in the firmament of heaven to divide the day from the night, and to let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and for years, and let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. And it was so. And Elohim made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day and a lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. Now, at verse 14, family, at verse 14, when it says, and for seasons and for days and for years, right? That word seasons would be moed, right? Hebrews 41:50. And it would be, let me pull it up right fast. Give me 1 second. Let me pull it up. Yes, and moed would be an appointed time, a fixed time, seasons, a festival, right? A year, an assembly, okay? Meaning appointed or fixed time. So that's what a moed is, right? So let's do this. Let's go to Leviticus chapter 23. Leviticus chapter 23, and let's start off at verse 1. And Yahweh spoke unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them concerning the feast, right? The moeds of Yahweh, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations. Even these are my feasts, his moeds. 6 days shall work be done, but the seventh day is a Sabbath of rest. A holy convocation, ye shall do no work therein. It is a Sabbath of Yahweh in all thy dwellings, right? These are the feasts of Yahweh, even holy convocations, which ye shall proclaim in their seasons, in the appointed times, right? In the moeds. In the 14th day of the first month at even is Yahweh's Passover. Again, going back to the Most High's, his appointed times are his feast days versus the pagans' holidays. Again, family, like I say, when you start connecting the dots, family, for those that, and there's a lot of brothers and sisters again that put out a lot of good information and show this. So again, for those, all praise the Most High for the brothers and sisters that's doing this, trying to get our people out of these man-made holidays, these man-made rituals, and coming back to the Most High. Our people will celebrate all these pagan rituals and talk about they believe in the book, but will not keep none of the Most High's feast days, none of his appointed times. So, like I said, family, the thing that really, again, we covered that, right? We know the sun, the moon, and the stars for signs, for seasons, for days, for years. Excuse me, so moeds. But again, the thing that show you how wicked this system is, we look at number of prefixes, right? And we have Latin over here, and the meaning, and the months. And for those that may not have seen this is really going to throw you guys for a loop. Now, we see that number 6 is sext, and 7 is sept, and 8 is oct, and 9 is nov, and dec is 10. But then when you go over here, right, we start realizing that, hold on. June is the 6th month, July is the 7th month, August is the 8th month, September is the 9th month, and October is the 10th month. But it's not lining up with the number of prefixes. Because, I want to say back during, I forgot, what I want to say it's the Julian calendar, or prior to the Julian calendar, it was to be called, the 6th month was called Sextober or something like that, right? But again, you can see it in the prefix how September was really the 7th month, but they moved it, they changed it, right? And Oct is 8, right? Oct is 8, and the dec is 10. But we've been going through this all our lives, and nobody even told us this. Nobody even taught us this. So when I found this out, it was mind blowing, and when you have the conversation with your relatives or family or friends, and they're celebrating the new year in the depth of winter, and then you start scratching your head, and you're it really begin to make sense, because when we start really looking at even the creation story, the Most High is showing how you know, nature, you know what I'm saying? He began to create things in nature to be able to sustain life, to be able to, where man can have things to eat and stuff like that, and animals can have things to eat. He created all that before he even created the animals and created man. Again, logic, right? So they can be able to sustain life. You got the fruit-bearing trees and herbs and stuff like that. And what time of year do those things usually produce? They usually produce in the spring. Again, just show you how the adversary, they want to celebrate the beginning of the year in the death of winter when everything is dead, right? Again, just food for thought, just for those that may not have even heard of this. But again, let's go further. Let's go further. Let's go back to let's go to the book of Exodus. Let's go to the book of Exodus. And again, we're going to run this down, family, and try to make this make sense, for those that may not have heard of this information before. And I want to go to Exodus chapter 20 first, and then we're going to go to Exodus 23. Exodus chapter 20, verse 8. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shall thou labor and do all thy works. But the 7th day is a Sabbath of Yahweh, thy Elohim. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou nor thy son, nor thy daughter, nor thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gate. For in 6 days Yahweh made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that is in them, and rested the 7th day. Wherefore that Yahweh blessed the Sabbath and hallowed it. Again, remember the Sabbath. The Most High keep over and over from Genesis, right? Exodus, right? Leviticus. He keep on repeating the same thing and putting everything in perspective and showing these cycles over and over and over. But again, somebody changed that. Somebody hid that, right? So let's go to Exodus chapter 23, and let's get let's start off at verse 14. I really want to say, family, for those that may not have heard this before, or those that's interested, and want to get more understanding and edified, it's make a good practice to read the whole chapter, or start at the beginning, or read a few verses above where I started at, so you can get a little bit more clarity, right? But anyway, Exodus chapter 23, verse 14. 3 times a year thou shalt keep a feast unto me in the year. Thou shalt keep the feast of unleavened bread. Thou shalt eat unleavened bread 7 days, and as I commanded thee, in the time appointed. Again, these appointed times, right? Of the month of Abib. For in thou comest out of Egypt, and none shall appear before me empty. And the feast of harvest, the first fruit of thy labor which thou hast sown in the field. And the feast of ingathering, which is in the end of the year, where thou hast gathered in thy labor out of thy field. And again, family, like I said, for me, you begin to really understand even tithing even more. So, which is a whole nother discussion, a whole nother lesson within itself. But again, you see 3 times a year, and in this festival, or this feast, or this moed, right, this appointed time, you notice is about, it's a celebration dealing with food, but again, these things that the Most High gave us, right, to to help nurture us, right? To help feed us, to give us, health, a good healthy body, and things that were natural. And you start realizing again that when we look at the adversary, again, he has destroyed so much. And it's hard right now to find things that's natural, right? Natural herbs and spices and things that are not genetically modified. So when the Most High talked about, he said had changed times and laws. Remember, the Most High gave us a dietary law, and now the things that we eat are even defiled, right? It just show you how the Most High's word, again, it's so deep. Again, like I said before, I'm only scratching the surface. I'm only scratching the surface. But anyway, to bring these things that the Most High gave us, bring this thing to Him in 3 times a year. But our people, again, we would celebrate everything but what the Most High told us to do. And again, He said, remember the Sabbath. But it's not just a weekly Sabbath, right? It's His appointed times throughout the year. And this is what I was really getting at, family. This is why I really wanted to get, I was going through this here to really bring you back full circle, and show you how when we're going to go to the book of we'll go to the book of Maccabees again, show you how the adversary have stolen so much out of the scriptures, family, and have polluted the word of the Most High, have polluted it, have diluted it, have defiled, and have misrepresented in so many ways. But again, it's hard for a lot of us to even talk to our family and friends about this, because again, they just, they have been worn out. So I'm gonna go to the book of Maccabees, right? I'm gonna go to the book of First Maccabees, and I'm gonna start off at chapter 4. And where do I start? Give me a second, family. Let me look around. I'm going to start off at verse 41, right? And this one here, again, my book may read a little different because this is the Oxford Cambridge version. So it may read a little different than yours if you have a King James version or what have you. So bear with me. And if I want you guys to really, again, read the whole chapter if possible to get a better understanding. Right? So anyway, let me just start off at 41 right fast, and then I may jump around, but again, I want to give you the gist of what I'm getting at. Then Judas detailed troops to engage the garrison in the citadel while he cleansed the temple. He selected priests without blemish, devoted to the law, and they purified the temple, removing to an unclean place the stone which were defiled, that which defiled it. They discussed what to do with the altar of burnt offerings, which was profaned. And I'm gonna give you an overview. The Gentiles, that were in power at the time. The Greeks, just defiled the temple, the altar, and stuff like that. So this is, they're trying to clean all that up, what the Gentiles did, and it's going to explain that as we go further. And rightly decided to demolish it, for fear it might become a standing reproach to them, because it had been defiled by the Gentiles. They therefore pulled down the altar and stored away the stone in a fitted place on the temple hill until a prophet shall arise who could be consulted about them. They took unhewn stone and the law as the law commanded, and built a new altar on the model of the previous one. they rebuilt the temple and restored the interior, and consecrated the temple court. They renewed the sacred vessel. They removed, my bad. They renewed the sacred vessels and the lamps in the lampstand, and brought the altar of incense and tables until the temple. They burnt incense on the altar and lit the lamps on the lampstand to shine within the temple. When they had put the bread of present of on the table and hung the curtains, all their works were completed. Then early on the 25th day of the 9th month, the month of Kislev, in the year 148, sacrifice was offered as the law commanded on the newly made altar of burnt offerings, on the anniversary of the day when the Gentiles had profaned it. Okay, on the very day it was rededicated with hymns of thanksgiving, to the music of harps and lutes and cymbals. All the people prostrated themselves, worshiping and praising heaven that their cause had prospered. They celebrated the rededication of the altar on the 8th day. There was great rejoicing, and they brought burnt offerings and sacrificed peace offerings and things offered. They decorated the front of the temple with gold wreaths and ornaments, shield. They renewed the gate and the priest room, and fitted them with doors. There was great merry making among the people, and the disgrace brought on them by the Gentiles were removed. So again, we see where these people get, where they get, their celebration from. They actually get it from the Bible. They get it from the children of Israel. But they flipped everything. They changed everything. Even to the so-called, the people who they claim to be the people. We see now, it's like, the menorah is supposed to have seven candles, but these people, they come up with this 8th day. But you see, that's not again, I don't want to get, that's a whole nother discussion within itself. You know what I'm saying? But again, for those that study, you begin to see how these people are not the people. I mean, they are part of the deception. That's what I'm getting at. Don't get it twisted. They are part of this stuff. When you go read 2 Kings, I want to say chapter 17. You go again, and I might get into that. You're going to see that the adversary, every time they took over the land of Israel, we went into captivity. I ain't gonna say every time, but a lot of times they will replace the children of Israel with imposters. This is nothing new. This is why I keep saying, for those that really study, you begin to see it's the same old setup over and over and over and over and over. That's again why I like when the forefather Paul say in the book of Romans, the things that were written aforetime for our learning. These things were written for aforetime. So we can see what the adversary is doing now, and we can find and see that they're doing the same thing that they did before. There's nothing new under the sun. But again, like I said, family, so we can see, again, remember we talked about they changed the month, right? They changed the celebrations. They changed the days. And again, now we see it because, again, our forefathers, family, they celebrated what they call it Hanukkah. I want to say it's pronounced Hanukkah, but anyway, trying to get better at that myself. But you can see the rededication, and it begin to make even more sense because all praise the Most High. If you look at the springtime as the beginning, right? Passover or Pesach, and you count 9 months, it all lines up, the rededication. Again, it just begin to make more and more sense, family. But again, like I said, for those that really want to study and research, and get to a better understanding where you can magnify the Most High, where you can worship the Most High the way He commanded. It's a lot. The way He commanded, the way He instructed. This is what it's about. It's not going to be for everybody. And for those that really don't see it, don't understand it, and care less to, that's where they're at. But again, for those that are seeking, information, or you may have heard this before, and I've been there before. I hear these things, and sometimes you're really looking to see if somebody else, see this, or somebody else, can give you, I guess another feeling of support that I'm on the right path. I'm I'm going in the right direction. You know what I'm saying? And that's what this is really about, because we're trying to reconnect with the covenant that the Most High gave to our ancestors, to our forefathers. And even for the Gentiles, again, like we read in one of the scriptures, even so for the strangers that dwell within our gates. Again, like I said, all praise the Most High. Family. So I just wanted to, again, do another part of this, or add to the previous discussion, and hopefully, it's received again with the same spirit, and I'm grateful for those that really getting it and understanding. All glory and honor goes to the Most High. With that being said, as usual, peace, love, shalom.